So we've got a couple of queen cells here. They're more than cups. They're longer, bigger. We're going to check them and see what's in them. This hive constantly has queen cells. There's nothing in that one. This one there is. So the fact that they've got royal jelly in there would tell me there's a larva. I can't see it, but I'm gonna bet there is one. Now, it's a developing queen cell that's not capped. If you get those torn out before they swarm, or before they're capped, you can stop swarming activity. Here's some drones. We're going to take a look at them, see if there's any varroa on them. It's where the varroa like to be, so it's good to check them as long as you broke them open. So this colony constantly makes queen cells. The queen is still in there. She's still good. Last year when I gave up on tearing them down and just kept checking, they would tear them down. They would be capped queen cells, and then they would come by and chew them out the side, and the same queen I'd put in there was still in there. So I don't know if they just like practicing and being ready for an emergency or what, but anyway, those are the type of queen cells that you need to check, because they've been drawn out. I'll get some cups here somewhere and show you some queen cups, and probably even find a capped cell somewhere. So these are capped queen cells right here. I made a split on this 7 days ago, and I couldn't find the queen, so I didn't know where she ended up with. So I marked it so I could come back, and the evidence that they have queen cells everywhere tells me she went in one of my splits. I don't want them making their own queen right now. We don't know if we can get them to mate. We haven't had warm enough weather. So I have queens I'll put in. So I want to tear these down. I don't want to set this colony back waiting. Now, when you come to do this, you need to shake these bees off. I had noticed 2 of them on here, but I hadn't noticed these other ones without shaking the bees. So this right here is a queen cup. It has nothing in it. You'll find those in the colonies all the time. They're not a big deal. I like to peel it back, the soft stuff, just to make sure if I can't see up in them well. And I can tear it out of here. They'll have a new one built in there in a couple of days or less. But these aren't things you need to worry about, but you do need to look at them and see, is there an egg in there? Is there larva in there? Is it wet? Tells you if they're making queens or not. So anyway, we got to see them both on this one, and I'll go through the rest of this colony, make sure there are no more queen cells and no more eggs, and then I will add a queen to them. So I'm going through a bunch of the splits that I made that I wasn't sure whether they had queens. Some of them had a queen cell I let go to make sure that we've got queens laying. And I don't know if you guys can hear these in here, but there's definitely a different sound when they have no queen and haven't. Some of them had lots of queen cells, so it was easy to tell that they didn't have one and were trying to make one, and some of them didn't have any queen cells like this one. So a lot of my splits I try to do with mostly capped brood, so they don't have anything to make queen cells out of. But you've got to get back and check and make sure, even if there is a queen and you put one in, you don't know whether she's mated or not. Not mated, but made it. Because sometimes there's things wrong with them. Sometimes they didn't get bred mated right. So you need to check. That's what we're doing now. I'm gonna put queen cells in a handful of these. Get some shots of that. All right, we're gonna stick a queen cell in here. One way that you can tell when you're not sure whether they're queenless or what's going on, you can put the queen down there and see the way they behave. When they start biting the wire and they're attacking it, it's usually an indication they don't want this queen. When they start sticking their proboscis in and trying to feed her and loving on the cage, then it's a pretty good indication they need a queen and they want one really bad. So we're gonna just pry the frames apart here. Some of mine have 10 frames in the top and the boxes are pretty snug, and you can't get them down in like that. When that's the case, they go in right at the very top of the frame and push the wax down with the corner of the box, of the queen box, and slide it in on under the top bar, and then it will drop right in. Just a little harder to pull them back out again too, but that's when there's 9 in there, they'll fit. Some of my boxes are just a hair wider and they'll fit. And this is the second day I've gotten over here without a hive tool, so I'm using a frickin' screwdriver. It's kind of annoying when I'm not working bees enough to keep all my tools with me. But there she is. I got one more to do. Well, just so happened the next one was a tight one, so I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I just roll the corner of the box in and push the wax down. And then it slides right in there tight to the foundation, and now it'll fit. I do this also when I've got a virgin queen, so she doesn't have a lot of the pheromones. But if you can see down here, it breaks a little bit of the honey along the top loose, and that draws the bees to it. The queen can get some honey through there too, but once the bees are up there with her and paying attention to her, then they'll take care of her. But sometimes you put a virgin in and they just ignore her. They want nothing to do with her. She's nothing special, and they just don't feed her or take care of her. So it seems to help when I can break that honey loose right at the bottom of the cage. You want to be sure there's not too much gushing in there. If you get honey all over her, there's nobody in there to clean her up. So that's the way we'll do it.